Hello everyone, this is my fully automatic Connect 4 game. This design requires no placing or breaking of any of the blocks, simply a click of a note block and the rest of it will handle itself. The blocks make their way up this chain right here into the sorting system which sorts them between red and blue and then pushes them into their respective slots to fill up for the next game. And after just a couple seconds of waiting, everything will be reset and you are ready to start your next game. Huge thanks to Fedelicious and Zeron for making this possible, and another thanks as well to Michael2_3b for publishing this little design right here, which makes the whole machine possible. Here is a list of materials needed to build it. Additionally, should you want the playing floor to sit flush with the ground, you will need to dig out an 11 by 17 by 9 rectangle into the ground. So we will begin by building the first set of upward concrete pushers. Go over to the middle of the right side of where you plan to build and count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks to the left. Go up 1 and place your first building block. Next, you are going to want to go over 2 blocks, break the center one, place a redstone repeater on 3 ticks, place an observer, place a block after the repeater with redstone dust on it, go down 1 block, place another redstone dust, go up 1 block, you don't need this one, down 1 more, a redstone repeater on 2 ticks, up another block, a redstone torch, redstone dust, a sticky piston on the redstone dust, and a regular piston on the redstone torch. Next, you are going to want to pillar up 11 blocks on top of the upwards facing piston, alternating between red and blue concrete powder. Next, we are going to build the main board clearing method. From the center of the back, count out 1, 2, 3 blocks, go up 1, and place your first building block. Then you're going to want to go across 1, 2, 3, 4, another 5, and then 3. On top of this, place 2 redstone, 3 comparators, 2 more redstone, 3 more comparators, a redstone right here, and 2 repeaters. Then off of those repeaters, place a block, a redstone torch, a block, a redstone torch, a block, and another redstone torch. Now, please bear with me. This is going to get really messy really quick. We're going to come back to the thing we just made, place a block on top of that redstone, a block on top of that, a block there, there, and then we're going to carry this all the way out to the edge, and then we're going to go back 1, 2, 3. Return to the beginning of that line that you just made. Place a redstone, a repeater on 4 ticks, a repeater, redstone, a repeater on 4 ticks, redstone, a repeater on 4 ticks, a repeater on 4 ticks, a redstone, and a sticky piston. Next, we are going to want to return to below. Place a block of redstone right there, an observer pointing up, a sticky piston right there, a repeater on top of the observer, a piece of stone off the repeater, a block right here, you don't need this one, a block behind it, a lever in the on position, and a piece of redstone. Next, you are going to want to look at this redstone, place an observer facing into it, and a piston in this direction. Next, we are going to come over here to this corner, place an observer facing into the redstone, a temporary block, an upwards facing sticky piston, remove the temporary block, stone or your building block on top of that, a building block to the side of the piston, a repeater on level 2, a block, and a redstone torch on top of it. Next, continuing along the line, we will place an observer facing into this upwards facing piston, an observer on top of the one you just placed, redstone on top of that observer, a target block on top of the piston, and then we will go out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 blocks towards the right off of that target block. Next, we will be placing 8 repeaters on 4 ticks all the way to the end of the line, and then we will cap it off with a piece of redstone. Next, build yourself a 3x5 platform right here, and then add an extra block at the very end of it. We will fill this area with redstone in this configuration, a repeater on 1 tick, 2 comparators facing this direction, 2 redstone right there, 2 comparators facing this direction, a repeater on 4 ticks, a repeater on 1 tick, a repeater on 1 tick, and redstone right here. You then need to place an observer facing into all of these repeaters along this side right here. We will now come to this empty space right here, place a block right here, a temporary block, a block, remove the temporary block, put a torch on top of the block, a dropper facing this direction, a hopper facing into the dropper, a temporary block, a building block, remove the temporary block, a comparator right here, a temporary block, a building block, a block right here, 2 more comparators facing out in this direction, 2 blocks right here, and 2 hoppers facing into each other. Then a temporary block, a building block, a comparator, and a piston facing out of the comparator towards this block right here. Next, you're going to want to place 6 of any block in this dropper right here, as long as they can stack up to 64. A composter on top of that hopper, any 1 block right here, as long as they stack up to 64. And then you're going to want to flip this observer around because I messed up. On top of these observers right here, we will place 1 facing up, 2 facing into it, and a smooth stone at the end. And we will repeat that for all of them. Once you reach the end, you can place an extra block of smooth stone right here without any observers behind it. Next, we can come over to this composter, place building blocks all the way off the side of that composter to the very end, and then 1 over the redstone torch right there to form a big L. On top of these upwards facing observers, we will be placing smooth stone in this configuration all the way down the line. You can feel free to leave this one out, it doesn't matter. And then sticky pistons all the way down that. And then regular pistons facing this direction on the sticky pistons. Next, we will be placing a row of redstone dust, a row of repeaters, a row of sticky pistons, and attach to those sticky pistons a row of smooth stone. You can then cover all of the redstone with a trapdoor of your choice. I choose spruce just because I like spruce. It doesn't matter which one you pick. You could even leave this open if you choose to see all the redstone, or pick one with holes in it so that you can look through. On the other side, on top of the composter, we will be placing a row of target blocks mirroring the row of pistons on the other side, and redstone dust all along the L. On top of this redstone dust, we will be placing 2 building blocks, 1 on top of and 1 behind of all of them. Then, on top of all of the target blocks, we will be placing a sticky piston, and then attached to those sticky pistons, more smooth stone. Once again, you can choose to cover this with whatever you please. Just please be sure that you leave these 2 rows right in the center completely unobstructed. We will now be placing in this position a temporary block, a note block, break the temp block, and make a line of observers down off that note block into this piston right here. And finally, to finish the lower section off, you can place a temporary block right here, an obsidian right there, and remove the temporary block. And now for the actual final step, you can go ahead and laugh at me because this observer was backwards. Now, if you have done everything correctly, you can click this note block and the flushing system should work. Continuing higher, we're going to be building the same system we designed down here, just correctly this time and with one small change. So we can place a temporary block, an observer facing into the temporary block, another temporary block with 2 off of that, remove the temporary block, a redstone dust instead of a repeater, a redstone dust right here, go down 1, remove the temporary block, redstone, a block on the redstone, a temporary block, remove the temporary block, a block right here, a repeater on 2 ticks, a block on the repeater, redstone dust on top of that block, a torch off the side of that block, a sticky piston off the redstone, and a repeater off the sticky piston. We can now continue up 11 more blocks, this time alternating between blue and red. Next, we are going to want to place a temporary block off of the note block, a lamp on top of it, remove the block, 2 blocks out the back of the lamp, go up 1, remove the block, redstone dust on top of that, redstone on top of the redstone dust, a block off the redstone, a repeater into the block on top of the redstone, smooth stone behind the repeater, a torch off of that block behind the repeater, a temporary block, a block behind it, remove the temporary block, a comparator facing into the torch, 2 blocks right here, a block right there, redstone on top of that block, a block beneath it, off to the side, remove that block, another redstone on top of that, and a redstone lamp at the end of it. From here, we're going to want to place a smooth stone slab on the block that the comparator is on, and then go over 3 in each direction, and then at the end of that 3, go over 7 in each direction. Next, we are going to want to place a block right here, a dropper facing this direction, a dropper facing up, a hopper going into the dropper on the left, a hopper going into the hopper onto the left, and then any item in this dropper. Next, on both sides, we're going to want to cover it with lines of redstone, just like this, and then off of the redstone, a line of blocks on each side. On this side, you're going to want to then place a line of blue concrete, and on the other side, a line of red concrete. Then on top of these blocks, place lines of pistons on each side, and then on the underside of each of these blocks, you can place a button on each side. Next, you can place 2 composters on top of the 2 droppers right here. Next, I'm going to need you to fill in all of the slots right here on both sides with the corresponding concrete powder until they reach 9 high. Next, what I'm going to want you to do is come to this block right here, place an observer facing into it, and then up. Next, we're going to come over to this side, or well, on each sides, one below the top, and place smooth stone all the way across until you come flush with these observers. Then do the same on the other side. Then, right here, you're going to want to make a little loop around this observer and connect to meet up right here. Then, you're going to want to place a block right there, a temporary block right here, remove the temporary block, and then make this look like that. Place 2 temporary blocks right here, a block right there, and a block right there, and then remove the 2 temporary blocks. We are going to be bringing the concrete powder back out, make a row of concrete powder, skipping that first block right here, and ending after this block. Place an observer facing into it, a row of smooth stone that goes down to the very end, a row of redstone dust on top of that smooth stone, and then a row of pistons off of the redstone dust. Repeat that on each side. We can now finish this piece right here by placing in a row of obsidian right there. Okay, now for the final complicated part. This will be the last little redstone bit we need to do, and then we can call it done. So we can put some concrete powder right there, concrete powder right here in these positions. Then you're going to want to place a piston facing this direction right there, some redstone dust right here, a building block, which I didn't have on me, right there, another one right there, a piston facing this direction, an observer facing out of it, a redstone repeater right here, a block at the end of the repeater, an observer facing not that direction, facing this direction, a repeater facing this direction, redstone here and here, and there as well, a piston facing this direction, and a piston facing this direction. On the next step up, we're going to be placing a piston facing this direction, an observer off of the piston, redstone out the observer, and another upwards facing piston right here. On the next layer up, we're going to want to put an observer right here, smooth stone off the edge of the observer, 3 smooth stone right here. On the second smooth stone, a piston facing down. On this piston facing up, a piece of sand. Left of the sand, a piston facing in this direction. A note block to the left of that piston. Sand on top of this piston. Off of the sand, a piston facing down. A block next to the note block. Behind the note block in the sand, 2 more blocks. And then a temporary block right here, a block right there. Remove the temporary block and place a piston on top of that. For the final stretch, we're going to want to put redstone dust right there, a piston off of the redstone dust, a red concrete powder right here, a sticky piston facing this direction, a piece of sand right here, an observer facing this direction, a sticky piston right here with red sand at the end of it, sand on top of the other sand, smooth stone right here, 2 repeaters on top of these blocks, 2 blocks off the ends of the repeaters, 3 scaffolding going out in this direction right here, and an observer facing not that direction, this direction, a block right here, and then redstone going right like that. One more thing before I forget, this repeater right here needs to be on 2 ticks. And finally, since it gets triggered once while you're building it, in order to prevent this block from falling down there, remove it from the end and place it right here. Now everyone, congratulations, give yourself a pat on the back. If everything went correctly, it should be done. Finish it off by playing around a little bit, clicking the button, and make sure that everything goes where it is supposed to. And just like that, everything turned out exactly as it should. Now, just a little note, this top part right here may not fill in the exact same way as it was before every single time. That's alright, that has to do with the order in which whoever wins and whoever loses, and the way you play down here determines what order the blocks up here fill in where they do. But that's alright because, you know, it gives you a little bit of a backlog right here, which will go ahead and fill in the correct spaces as they appear. This machine does accommodate for a little bit of backlog up here. It is not exactly 6 high as the game is. It goes 3 higher, so there is some wiggle room. If the blocks do, for some reason, end up being pushed off the side, you can just go ahead and put like a slab and then a hopper right beneath it if you're worried about that, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue. And that's it. That's the end of the tutorial. Once again, huge thanks to Fedalicious and Zeron for coming up with the method of sorting falling entity blocks. That is the only reason that this is possible, and it was a huge help. And additionally, thank you to one of my buddies, Spidey, for coming and helping me put this together a little bit last night while we were doing some last-minute testing. I will be putting this world download in the description if you would like to come and check it out on your own or take like a schematic of it. I feel like that'd be a lot easier than going through the tutorial, but you know, whatever your workflow is. And with that, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.